Welcome back. An initiative in Kenya seeks to empower girls in shanty towns to use technology to solve local challenges. Business skills and design instruction are part of the program. Lenny Ruvaga has the story from Nairobi.
24-year-old Minzelet Ijai takes her students through the paces in film production. We are in Kibera, an informal settlement, low-income area on the outskirts of Nairobi. Today's lesson is on directing and script writing.
Action, move.
Ijai is a tutor at Tech Dada. In Swahili, Dada means sister. Formed 2 years ago, Tech Dada teaches girls in informal settlements, business and technology skills. Ijai is a graduate of the 3-month program who now works there as a mentor.
The challenges that I face personally when I'm training these young girls is that most of them see this film directing as a male thing, not as ladies who can direct films. So I have to work hard to make sure that they're interested and then spread the knowledge to them.
University wasn't in the cards for Elizabeth Ochieng. She couldn't afford it. But through Tech Dada, she learned about web design and 3D printing and now has a job teaching graphic design at a local school. She hopes the skills gained here will lead to self-employment for her students once they finish high school. But the program isn't without its challenges.
We lack materials, computers, we don't have adequate computers, and also maybe some students can't attend the classes, like they have some responsibilities at home. So we need maybe parents to fully support us so that we can help the girls grow.
Josephine Meliza is the founder of Tech Dada, which is funded by the Tunapanda Institute.
There is really great potential in the informal settlements. We look around, we see how people are able to turn challenges into opportunities, and sometimes it's just the lack of opportunities that makes people resort to crime. So for us, when we look at this as an opportunity to create better mothers for the society, to create women leaders who will be able to become change makers in the society.
Around 100 girls have benefited from the initiative since its inception. Melissa says 85% of them have been able to secure formal employment. Lenny Ruvaga for VOA News, Nairobi.
Advocating for civil rights was the life work of Martin Luther King Jr. Almost half a century after the American leader was assassinated, his legacy is still celebrated, and his birthday is a national holiday in the United States each January. Channels Television's Maria Bird has more.
Dr. Martin Luther King was a beacon of hope for so many in the United States, and his legacy continues to live on.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Yeah, we have come a distance. We made a lot of progress as a nation and as a people, but we're not there yet.
King didn't die because he fought for black people. You don't get killed for that. You don't get killed for fighting for black people. You get killed when your message becomes larger than any one group. You get killed when your message speaks to people no matter what they look like or where they're from. King spoke to an American power structure that didn't need to be at war. And he spoke to a nation that talked big about prosperity but denied it for most of its citizens.
The wreath laying at the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial in Washington, D.C. was nothing but historic on this inauguration week.
I think this year, because we're doing a new Trump administration, to always keep in forefront what Dr. King stood for, what he meant for it, but also what this memorial stands for. When we talk about justice, hope, and democracy, you talk about what this memorial encompasses. And so, as I said earlier, if everybody would have followed that, democracy, justice, hope, and love, what a great country this would be. It's important that during this inauguration that we keep that in mind as we set forth a new era in the United States of America.
So, you know, every year that I come here, this is the 6th one. I've been coming since it started in 2011. The program today was just like any other, you know, coming here and hearing about his legacy, seeing all the different people here today. And it's never too cold. It's never too early. You know, you got to get out of bed and pay your respects to MLK. None of us would be where we are without his sacrifice and his legacy.
From the Dr. King Memorial in Washington, Maria Bird, Channel Television News.
Well, the National Museum of African American History and Culture opened recently in Washington. The museum looks at many aspects of that history, including the American Civil Rights era. Africa 54's Haiti Adams Fitzpatrick has more.
The museum honors the trials and triumphs of Americans of African descent. These galleries are devoted to their contributions in music, entertainment, sports, politics, and literature. John Franklin, the museum's director of international programs, is our guide through the exhibits. He says the post-civil rights era saw black influence go mainstream in America.
You have your first big stars, Michael Jackson, Oprah Winfrey, the sports and music icons of the time, Jesse Jackson making his bid for president.
The 1963 March on Washington, led by Martin Luther King Jr., is a key moment in the civil rights movement, leading to the repeal of segregation and enforcement of laws guaranteeing black Americans the right to vote. Franklin walks us through the era following King's death.
King has been assassinated. This is a march honoring him and commemorating him. This is his funeral. This is his picture of his widow, Coretta King, on the cover of Life magazine.
The struggle for black empowerment took on a new dimension with the Black Power movement, a call for African Americans to unite, recognize their identity, and determine their own future.
Black power takes many forms. The most notable form is in the political arena, African Americans being elected and have the opportunity to represent their constituents at many different levels, including in Congress. Black power is also economic power.
And that movement increasingly became part of a global push for black liberation, supporting South Africa's anti-apartheid struggle and calls for the release of Nelson Mandela from prison.
Across the nation, we demonstrated at South African embassies and South African consulates for his freedom. And I can remember the day we waited to see him released from prison and come here as a leader.
From Africa to the United States, the long walk to freedom and its many complexities is told here. For many, at home and abroad, the ascendancy of a black man to the pinnacle of American power is testament to centuries of sacrifice and achievement.
We will support democracy from Asia to Africa, from the Americas to the Middle East, because our interests and our conscience compel us to act on behalf of those who long for freedom.
This museum packs in more than 500 years of history. It all culminates here on the top floor with the story of Barack Obama's historic election as US president, his inauguration, and his time in office. The museum tour ends here, but the journey continues. As you can see, there is plenty of room for more history. Haiti Adams Fitzpatrick, VOA News, Washington.
It's now time for a short break. Before we go, a reminder to visit our website, channelstv.com, for all the latest information around the clock. You can also find us on youtube.com/channelsweb. Still to come on Africa 54. Millions of migrants around the world have made perilous journeys to escape war and conflict. An African-born actor is making his debut in a movie about being a refugee, a role he knows all too well. That story after the break.